Hey there. This is Melissa Valentine's Nursery. My name is Melissa. And you guys, this is it. This is episode 10. Episode 10. I'm only doing 10 episodes. This is Tales from the Crib, the dark side of doll collecting. And I want to thank everybody who has stuck through this, all of it. I appreciate you guys. I know there are touchy subjects in this. I get it. I understand. But I don't put anybody down. It's facts, and I'm having a good time with this. And a lot of you, I've got great feedback for this, but this is the last one. Join with me here are three of my girls. I have Ruby Awake. She is my Capri. Props to Reborn Tatty for giving me that name. That's an awesome name. And when I think of the name Capri, I think of it being spelled like, like C-A-P-R-I with a little heart. So that's what comes to mind. I don't know. And then over here, I've got the Masterpiece Gallery's Gretel. And I named her from The Sound of Music. And then we have our little beauty, mischievous toddler here. This is Little Missy. Everybody knows Little Missy. This is my Liam, my little Amazon bunka. So I have my three girls. She didn't get enough screen time, and she always gets, this one here, she does get a fair amount. She does not, but I got to start putting more of Capri in videos. But I have my notebook here, you guys. These are my notes. And I wrote big so I could see it. But I do want to thank you guys for sticking through this. This was meant to be fun, enlightening, and you guys are amazing for sticking through with this. So this final one, the 10th episode, is Amateur Artist Arrogance, Greedy Gurus, New Artist Price Gouging. Okay. So I did touch on some of this in one of my previous videos. But I had written a lot of the ideas and my direction for this series. I usually write like a really loose notes, topics to discuss, and I just regurgitate them from my brain. So, you guys, I've noticed my dog is licking himself. Oh my God. And I do not have my cat in this doll room anymore. She is no longer allowed. She did a bad girl thing and no more. And I'm in the middle of dealing with that. But you guys are not going to see this. Like, I'm filming 2 weeks ahead of time, I think. No, a week ahead of time. But anyway, let's get to the story. So what I'm noticing is, and this includes myself, a lot of people get into the hobby and they're like, I can do this. And they make babies, right? And I noticed that on a lot of videos, people will get into the hobby and be like, well, instead of paying for babies, I could be making babies. I could be making money off of babies, or just making babies for myself. And what I have found, and I'm going to be genuinely honest about this, we all take on new hobbies, new endeavors. And sometimes we think things and we get I do this all the time. We get overexcited about it. And we jump into it and we do great for a long time, and then we realize it's not what we thought. I am starting, I have spent all this money 2 years ago on Genesis heat set paints, new wave oven. I have baby kits that are blank. I have sold out limited edition kits. And what I am finding with myself is I'm getting better. I'm actually getting better with my kits. But I'm finding out it's not my greatest cup of tea. I was loving it at one point, and I don't know if it was life change. The enjoyment with creating the babies have fallen for me. I had this certain high that I was on when I was making these babies, and I would sell them at generous prices, but then I'm finding out that people feel the newer, when I get on reborns.com, and I'm not talking about the very well made babies. I'm talking about the ones that like, the boo-boo babies, and like people are learning, and that's fine. But sometimes I feel like some of these newer artists who will think, okay, it's a reborn baby for one, it's a kit, it's painted with good quality stuff or whatever. And they go ahead and they list the baby for a price higher than what they should have. Now, I have one on Reborns, and I have scrolled to the very end in the past, and I have seen one particular very same doll. It's a tiny newborn, and it's listed as it's a girl. It's listed as a girl. It's been up there for 2 years. 2 years. And I have seen that price of that baby go drop. Because I used to scroll all the way through reborns.com to the very last page. And then I know when I'm getting to like, because they say they rotate the babies through the first page and stuff. But I feel like at the end, it's usually the same babies that have been there forever. So I'm not sure if that baby's still there, but I know that baby was there for like maybe almost 2 years. I feel like it wasn't, it looked like someone new made that baby. So, that's something I have discovered. And, when it comes to price gouging, I was generous about it. I lost so much money, but that was a learning experience for me. I still, not only did I create babies, and I did keep my initial babies for myself, a couple of them. My first one that I ever painted I have Psycho paints because I thought I was going to paint silicone babies. Well, no, I didn't think I was going to say, I wanted to paint my own. And I said, oh, okay, I'm going to buy like some Psycho paints and, the things I need for that. Didn't pan out as I had planned. So I after painting the first one, I kept that baby for about 1.5 years, and I sold them. And I do like to paint with the Genesis, the vinyl babies, but you guys, it's just not my cup of tea anymore. Maybe I'll pick it up and do it here or there, but I don't have that like euphoria that I did. And then as far as like, I talked about this in my last video. See, when I like am up and have an insomnia, I start talking about all sorts of stuff. And I feel like I stole some of my fire from this, but it's okay. We're going to enjoy it regardless. This is the last one. So what I was saying is like 2 years ago, you can find a decent reborn for like $200. I have one, my very first one that I got for $225. You can't find that for $225 anymore. Can't find it for $225, and we talked about in another video was that supplies have gone up in cost. The hobby is more mainstream, more mainstream. And maybe the demand has gone up as well, so maybe the price has gone up with that. You know what I'm saying? Jack, would you stop licking yourself, boy? Do that later. No one wants to hear that junk. So, prices have seemed to skyrocket. Now, I wish I could have remembered in that one video, I was making a point of, is it our tastes that are becoming more refined, or the prices are going up, or is it both? One of my subscribers have commented, and I want to say Dakota Twilight, and I think it was her, she said, when you begin to paint, you start to see other flaws in other babies, because sometimes maybe they put the paint on too thick, or whatever, and you recognize those flaws. And when you recognize those flaws, that's not good enough for you anymore. Like, where the boo-boos are. So your standard goes up. And I think that also happened with me. So my standard went up. And even babies that are not considered boo-boo babies, I'm like, that's not, I want a little depth. I want a little character to my babies. That person's got dots on the baby's foot and ain't supposed to be there. You know what I mean? Like, there's just like certain things, Now I do understand when it comes to, I'm not against the replica babies or whatever. I love the dolls. I love the dolls. There's no bias in my nursery. But when it comes to the authentic, handmade painted ones, those are art. And I understand, and art is expensive. Have you ever bought a real piece of wall art? Have you ever been to a museum? Have you ever been to an auction for wall art? art's expensive. Sculptures, whatever, what have you. And some people, you got the people who sculpt these babies, vinyl, silicone, whatever, what have you. It's art all the way around. Oh my God, this dog. He doesn't have fleas. He's old and he has everything. Anyway, so, and it's unique and one of a kind. And I get that and I value that. And I know reborns take time to make. And I'm cool with, you invest time in a reborn, But however, going back to like new artists with the price gouging, because that's what this is all about. Not all newer artists have the it. Do you know what I'm talking about? The it. My grandma used to say they have to have the it for certain things. When you have the it, you could see the potential. Some artists, let me move this a little bit because I'm about to hit my leg. Some artists, like, they just don't have the it. But you could still paint. I mean, any type of art. You could scribble doodles on a piece of paper and that's art. But what I'm saying is to charge phenomenal prices for, most people are looking for a certain baby, a certain quality. And I feel like newer artists don't realize that you have to go to, it's going to cost you in the beginning because it's a school, basically. You pay for your education, basically. And that's what you're doing. But in the journey, you enjoy it. You enjoy it. You know how much fun I would be painting the dolls. And at first I was painting my babies in front of my living room window. Now, I used to have all trees. I had like a forest in my backyard. You can nobody's seen you back there. But, I have a neighbor here and a neighbor here on either side of my house. And you don't hardly see them. But the ones in the back, they bought all new developments back there. It's all new developments. And it's like townhomes. So I have in my entire yard on one house, I have one, and there's like 10 neighbors in those townhomes and they all see my yard now. Oh my God. So what was happening was I was painting these babies in front of my window in my living room. Cause I moved my kitchen table in my living room. I kind of got a little different with my house. I wanted to feel more spacious. So I did something different. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was painting the babies on there. And at the time when my husband was in this house with me, he would say, Melissa, the window blinds are open and it's like evening and you have all these baby pieces. Like he goes, I went outside and it looked like you had babies that were like decapitated or limbs just hanging out. He goes, it's like it's crazy. He's like, you're going to have to move your babies somewhere else or close the blinds. He's like, we're going to get charged. So, I mean, I remember that and I was so excited and I was just making babies and enjoying it and loving it. And it was just like my entertainment. People spend money going to the casino. They spend money and then go to see a movie. They didn't, whatever, food gurus, whatever. So, learning does come at a cost. And there's the journey to enjoy with that, right? But just because there's potential with making money, that doesn't mean you price gouge. And I have seen that, I'm not just talking about, babies going up in general. I'm talking about like the newer artists taking advantage of the field or whatever you want to call it, So here's something that my cat is meowing. She's not allowed. When I'm in here, she usually is allowed in here. No more, honey. You messed up. She messed up. Okay. So I feel like no matter where you put the paint, if you put the paint on an authentic kit or if you put a paint on a knockoff, whatever, if you do something with artistic ability on it, when you apply artistry to something, it does give it value and it does give it, a certain essence, right? But we also have to be mindful, it is competitive out there. Don't get me wrong. I've listed babies on Reborns.com from the start of my, we'll say second baby, because my second baby I painted was my first final. First baby was that silicone. But so you can see the progression. And then I did sell some babies on Reborns.com that I did not make. So, and I feel like, how do you feel about that? Did you notice that, a lot of newbie art is being overpriced? Are you seeing the same dolls that have been listed forever that newer, it seems like a new artist made, that is just not being sold? And that, when you're a new artist, you do want to make money. You want to get your profits back from that expensive paint and all the supplies. So that is something that you have to consider when you do list your babies. But you want to make them sellable, and you want to make them affordable, and you want to do it with reason. You're a student. You're still a student. My cat's freaking out. It's driving me nuts. And I feel like, with that being said, babies should be priced at a very less expensive, more generous price, right? I have sold babies for $100 because, remember, like, the kits themselves can be up to $100. But I started out with the Sweetie. I bought 3 Sweeties. They were by Donna Rupert on Bountiful Baby. Those are my first 3 vinyl babies, and every single one was completely different. My 3 Sweeties. And I have photos of them, and I made them, all completely different. I painted one and had like a Mediterranean olive skin. One was African American, and the other one was what was the other one? It was my very first one I made. It had a lot of peachy colors to her. I think 2 sold as girls and 1 sold as a boy, if I can remember correctly. And I feel like I was generous with the price, and they sold. They did not sit on reborns.com for very long. I felt like that it was an accomplishment for me in my journey, right? And that it gave somebody else enjoyment. And I even do like really good box openings. I try my hardest to make the box openings beautiful. So, that's something that I factor in, and getting your name out there, there's a cost. Some people are just lucky and they got it, but you also have to refine your skills. If you don't have the it factor, you're going to have to try a little harder. Not everybody in school just picks up pen and a book and paper and they're just masters. We all have to learn and start from somewhere, and we're not all successful in the beginning, so why don't the newer artists make the babies more accessible to people who, maybe can't afford these authentic babies? Because let me tell you, okay, so, people say they can't afford them. You can get, your Paradise Galleries. They are relatively priced well. If you wanted to get like the authentic, you can go on Amazon and get $40, $60, $70 replicas, and then there's sales that get a Paradise Gallery. I feel like Ashton Drake is more expensive than Paradise Galleries. But Paradise Galleries, you can go on there and get, like, I loved my Snugglebug, but I just had to clean house, and so I passed on my Snugglebug. And I've done that with a lot of babies. But maybe the people who feel like it's not accessible, maybe the newer artists can price the babies so that people who can't afford these authentic reborn kits, painted by hand, they can get them. Maybe, what I'm saying? You do something for yourself and you do something for somebody else. It's a 2-way winning thing. You know what I'm saying? We both win. So, so I feel like if you do have this skill for this art, I understand pricing it accordingly. I understand deserving that profit. I get it. Make a profit. You've been doing this. You've been, trained yourself, or however you did it. Whether you watched a million videos on YouTube, or you went to classes, or you bought books, whatever. Make that money, girl. But, you got the school people, the students, is like, the newbies, right? Why don't we turn that education into helping others, right? Instead of sticking a price on it and be like, oh, these are reborns. Reborns are, cha-ching, and I think that's a great thing. You ever see there's like a local tech college, and they have dental hygienists, and they have a clinic where if people cannot afford to go get teeth cleanings, whatever, they can go to that clinic where the students do the teeth and clean them for you. You know, yeah, they may not be perfectly done, but they're done like either like, I think it depends like on your income or completely free, something like that. Like it's supposed to be very affordable. And I've actually heard pretty good things about it. So that's a good program. So, you know, if we can turn in, if, you know, the newer artists can turn their learning into something like that, because that right there, that's amazing. That's, you know, instead of sticking high prices on these dolls because they're reborns, right? We turn it into something wonderful. And that's a positive thing. What do you guys think about that? You know, like, you know, internships or whatever, or nurses have to go to practicum and apply what they learned in school before they become a nurse. They have to learn what they apply in school, and they have to go into a clinical setting and practice, right? And they give their services to real patients, just like, you know, real clients, real reborn mommies who want to have a authentic reborn, you know? So what do you guys think of that? That's just something that came to my mind. I didn't even write it down, but I was thinking, you know, I had written down, I wish reborns were all accessible for everybody. But, you know, and then, you know, me, as far as babies, you know, I understand Amazon makes really nice babies. They do. I'm impressed with, for the cost, you know, little Missy, she's been nothing but sunshine and rainbows around here. And so she is my only vinyl replica out of all of my reborns around here. So what do you guys think about that? What do you think about that? And are you a new artist? Is this something that, this proposal that I have come up with, is that something that, you know, you'd want to do? Make it easily accessible for somebody who would love to have a reborn and just can't afford it. You got people who are, you know, disabled. You got the seniors who, you know, they get a monthly income, you know, that would be something amazing for them. I honestly wish that I could have had time to make a bunch of reborns and give them to the nursing homes. I would have loved to do that. I just can't even, like, time is precious. Time is very precious. And my main gig is not reborns. My reborns bring happiness and joy to me, everybody. You know, that is something that we all, you know, we all rest and have peace in, is these reborns. And that's why we're here. So does anybody go on reborns, and do they ever find reborns that they're like, honey, this is not a good price? Hey, I do both. I'll be like, wow, look at that baby. And, you know, I stopped looking at the prices, because what I was doing was I was looking at the prices and then looking at the baby. But I want to see what's out there. So I just started looking at the babies, didn't even look at the price, right? And then, so when I see a baby I like, and I'm like, oh, beautiful baby, I'm like, oh my God, it's a beautiful price too. Like, I like a high price. Like, I can't do that. But then every now and then you look at a baby and you're like, wow. And then you look at the price and you're like, that's beautiful. That's a good price, like a beautiful and a good price type of way. So I was actually, you know, watching, there is, oh God, what's it? Rainbow's Dolly World, or Rainbow Dolls, not Rainbow Riches, Rainbow, oh my God, Rainbow's Dolly World, she's a really sweet girl, and she has dyed like pink hair right now, I think, short hair. And she just went to the Rose Doll Show, right? And here's an example. So she was at a table. She was at a table, and she had bought a fantasy doll. And the table, you know, from that artist, obviously you could tell that artist had been doing, you know, the artist has been painting for a while, right? The babies didn't look like they were amateur babies. It was a beautiful fantasy doll. And I was like, oh my God, that baby's probably so expensive. She did pick up that baby, by the way, and adopt it. But when she was initially looking at it, when she went to that table, I was like, wow, that baby's pretty, you know, it's not my style, but I do like the fantasy babies, right? And I like the sparkliness of it and the pink of it and the little tuft of hair. I thought it was cute. And I was like, man, that's got to be like a, you know, at least a $600 doll. The tag, you could see a glimpse of the tag. It was $150. I said, $150? There's a doll right now on Reborns.com, a fantasy doll, and it's been up there, and it's a little over like $300. And I've been wanting it, but I'm like, I have enough babies. But when I seen that other doll on the Rose Doll show, I was like, oh my God. And it was priced great. Great. Perfect price for that baby. And I think the artist was like, yeah, the alternatives don't sell as good, so she prices them lower, which is a win-win situation, because some people do like the alternatives, and I felt, I have typed in alternative reborns on reborns.com, and there was a lot that I didn't like, but the ones that I have were gifts to me. And I wanted both of them. I didn't know I was getting both of them. But the thing is, that was easily accessible. I feel like for a fantasy doll that was painted very well, in my opinion, that was a phenomenal, great price. Now I've never been to a doll show as of yet. So I don't know if, maybe they do things cheap. I don't know if they do things cheaper. I'm not sure. A lot of the doll shows are not local to me. A lot of them are not. And that's the reason why I am going to the one at the end of June, because it's drivable distance for me. When am I going to get the opportunity? But going back to this whole series, I just want to know what your opinions on it. I know it's not the episode, because we're at a close now with this. There wasn't a lot to really say for this. It was just, I feel like a lot of the newer artists are doing price gouging, or they were at one. I don't know if they still are, but I know they were for the longest time. And I haven't been on Reborns.com for maybe a week or two. And before that, it's been maybe a month. I don't know, something like that. It's been inconsistent, but I used to go all the time, and I would see all these, like, towards the end, the stuff, the babies that were not adopted would be towards the end of the site, and you would see, they're still there. And some of them I didn't notice the prices go down. So, like, what's your take on it? What is your take on with the prices? You think the newer artists should price high? And also, so that was the end of that, you guys. I want to know what you guys thought of this series. I know there's a lot of sensitive people out there. They get triggered and it's touchy subjects, but life is touchy. I am not very judgmental. When I don't insult, I'm not judgmental. I just try to be, objective and tell you how I feel personally without, what do you call it? Persecuting anybody or whatever you want to call it, Did you guys like this series, Tales from the Crib? Let me know your thoughts, not only on the topic of the episode, but let me know what you thought about this series. Because maybe I'll plan another series for the future. It won't be Tales from the Crib. Tales from the Crib is over. What did you think of it, you guys? If you haven't seen it, it's Tales from the Crib. This episode is the final one. I'm flipping my pages here so I can read. There was 10 episodes. The first, they all have nice, witty titles. I tried to be very creative with the titles. So there was 10. The first one was about, the replicas versus authentic thing. The second one was how our collecting is ups and downs of collecting, how you're going to slow down buying dolls. You don't. Then you have the copycat Karens, copying clothing and styles. Number 4 was red carpet reborns and secondhand styles. What do you put your reborn in? Do you do top of the line clothes or do you do mainstream clothes? Do you thrift, The 5th episode was scams in the reborn hobby. The 6th one was how strangers stereotype us. When they don't know, they have to be informed. Number 7 was talking about the negativities between sellers and consumers, and how, then I went into meeting up, how, the meetup thing for the Dolls of the World Expo, there's that expo and then people are going to something else, it was my opinion on that. I initially wanted to go to Atlanta, but now I don't. I've changed my perspective on that. I was torn, and now I know what I'm going to do. Then there was number 8, Baby Formula Funk Ups, talking about how do you do your formula, you know? How do you, your formula, your fake formula. And then number 10 was today, what we talked about today. So would you be interested in another episode? I know another series. I've set these as premieres so that you guys know they're coming up and you can prepare that they're coming out. I did them every Friday at 6 p.m. So you guys, thank you for joining me on this. I appreciate it. It was fun, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. I appreciate every one of you. Like, subscribe, comment, leave comments. Love comments. I get to them eventually. And if you're not subscribed, check if you're subscribed. Subscribe to me. You know, I appreciate all of you that do. And what else? Share. You know, this is a safe zone, you guys. Safe zone for everybody who collects. You know, I don't want this to be terrible. I don't want it to be a bad environment. So let's share what we all love together and make it beautiful. All right, you guys, until next time, I love all of you. Thank you so much. Bye.